So now the Trump team is wanting to go after WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Remember, during the primary, Trump said, it shows the clip, this just came out, WikiLeaks. I love WikiLeaks. The crowd cheers, right? He loved WikiLeaks when it was going after the DNC and Hillary during the primary. So there's a link to, there's an interview on realnews.com that I would watch. I'll put the link below. But they've been trying to go after Julian Assange, and it's an interview with Glen Ford, who's a radio show host, not the actor, and has hosted the show America's Black Forum. And so what this shows is how, first of all, it shows how CNN has reported some stuff. Some of it is back in April, but about Julian Assange that is flat out incorrect. So CNN has reported. So since let me just go through the facts of Julian Assange here. He has been. The U.S. government is talking about charging him with respect to the 2010 leak of confidential federal documents. And a recent release of CIA cyber warfare files. Assange has been in the Ecuadorian embassy in London for the last 5 years. Now, CNN reported incorrectly that Assange is avoiding arrest for rape charges in Sweden. Julian Assange has not been officially charged with rape, a fact confirmed by both the UK Supreme Court as well as the United Nations. He hasn't. One woman even pulled back her charges. Now, I've said this. If he has raped a woman, he needs to go to his trial and he needs to go to jail. But I find it curious that, like, he's this threatening to those that are in power, and then those charges come out, right? And the whole point was they were trying to get him to stand trial in Sweden because Sweden will allow the U.S. to extradite him. And he said, I will come stand trial. I will face any and all charges because I'm innocent, and just don't, you can't just legally say you won't extradite me, and they never would. And furthermore, the UN has now thrice ruled that Assange is being arbitrarily detained by the Swedish and UK governments. The UN also held that Assange must be granted financial compensation and the right to exit the embassy without fear of state interference and without delay. So this interview between Sharmani Peres and Glen Ford is interesting because Glen Ford talks a lot about the military state and how Mike Pompeo and Trump were happy, as I said during the primary, that Assange they were happy for WikiLeaks, and now that WikiLeaks is showing them. But what it shows is the change, and I've talked about this before, of Trump. So in the primary, and years, I mean, even back 2012, 2013, he was on Twitter saying, why are we in business with Saudi Arabia? What are we doing in Yemen? Pull us out of Afghanistan. It was very critical of Obama. And that was the thing. If he stuck to that after getting sworn in, then he would have been impeached in February. The deep state would have said he's out of there, but he starts playing ball. And what this Julian Assange thing is, according to Glen Ford, makes a great point. He says, he goes, when he showed the clip of Trump in the primary saying, yay, WikiLeaks, here's what Glen Ford says. He goes, no, not the clip you just played, but the events that have come down from the Justice Department, the threat to indict Julian Assange, it really is the sound of the other shoe falling. The first shoe was the attack on the Assyrian embassy. This is the other shoe. See, remember that when Trump was like, I didn't want to attack Syria, but then I saw the footage, that false flag footage of the Syrian gas, the kids from the gas. We had to airstrike Syria. That's the military state. We need to get in there to protect our pipeline and not let Russia and Iran build their pipeline. It's all about the petrodollar. So what this going after Assange is more, because Assange is a threat to the deep state, without a doubt. They got to get him out of there. So it's why I get leery. I don't think he's going to get impeached, because the deep state is now, he's playing ball, so he's going to stay in there. He's going to stay in there. President after president after president after president does this. They play ball, they stay in there. Obama played ball, Bush obviously played ball, Bill Clinton played ball. You know, this is what happens. So Glen Ford also says, now Donald Trump can feel confident about that he is back on the right side of the war party and will no longer be charged with being un-American himself. It appears that in the United States, in order to show that your patriotism is intact, you have to paint someone else with a subversive brush. True words, Glen Ford. Watch the whole interview below. It's on Real News. And it's something Snowden, Chelsea Manning, Julian Assange, how they're treated and who goes after them, shows you who is being used or is a part of the, as Glen Ford calls it, the war party, the deep state, the military-industrial complex, whatever you want to call it. Because those people should, you wouldn't be mad at those people if they weren't threatening you. Right? In America, blow the whistle, get the truth out, right? Isn't that what America's all about? Get the truth out. No, now it's about the corporate state running everything, and the corporate media is a part of this, which is why CNN puts out false information about Julian Assange. It's why Donald Trump, you know, he went after Jeb Bush in the primary. Your dad, Iraq, he blew up Jeb Bush. He blew up the Republican power base in that. You can't forget that during the primary. What Trump did, he did it. Yes, he used racism. Yes, he used xenophobia and misogyny. I'm not denying any of that. But he also tapped into a large group of people that are like, the whole system's broken. He said, I'm going to drain the swamp. And what are we doing in these illegal wars? Now, that group is, because of the xenophobia, that resounds and resonates with them so well. It's easy to get them on board with we got to fight terrorism. I'm going to build a wall. So then when Trump does the bidding of the war machine, that his base doesn't get mad, because they're like, yeah, he's fighting for America. That's an easy sell. Wrap the flag around the corporate war machine, and a lot of people will go on board with it. So this is good, and I like Glen Ford, and I like Real News, and so glad you guys are watching and listening to the show. And I love your comments. I love your insight. Don't forget, we do Super Chat Sunday. Every Sunday, I will announce that. And go to my website, grahamelwood.com, for all of my tour dates. And doing Political Vigilante live at the Los Angeles Podcast Festival, lapodfest.com. Thanks for watching. Let's make Gotham great again.